They called me a fraud. My own family dragged me to court, swearing I made it all up. The judge wouldn't even look at me until he walked in. The room froze as he raised his hand and said, "He outranks us all. You forged it, Eli. Don't lie to our faces. That's Dad's signature, not yours. You think we wouldn't notice? You always were the weird one. This is just your way of taking what was never yours." My sister Paige paced like a prosecutor on cable TV. My brother Trent leaned back, arms folded, smug as ever. My mother, she just stared past me, not a word, not a blink. We were already in the courtroom, already under oath, and the air was stifling. "All rise," the bailiff had said 20 minutes ago, but I'd been standing for 10 years. "My name is Creeley Maddox. I'm 26 years old. I wasn't supposed to be the one holding the papers. I wasn't supposed to be the one standing alone. But when your father dies and the will suddenly changes and your name shows up where others expected theirs, you're the enemy. They think I forged it. What they don't know, I was the only one in that hospital room, the last to hear his voice, the last to hold his hand. I didn't lie, but I didn't tell the whole truth either. My bloodline, Paige, 32. My sister, corporate lawyer, cold. She saw emotion as weakness. She used my breakdown at 19 as proof I'm unstable. Trent, 29. My brother, gym teacher, charismatic. He borrowed $8,000 from me and never paid it back. Still called me selfish. Mom, 57. A shadow since Dad died. She let them believe I tricked her too. But I remember the look she gave me when I opened the will. That look of relief. He rewrote Dad's will while he was drugged up on morphine. Paige slammed the exhibit folder on the table. He's got no job, no mortgage. Suddenly, he inherits the house, the stocks, the vintage guitars. Really? The judge, tired, grey, unmoved, flipped pages like they meant nothing. To him, I was a line item. To them, a thief. Trent hissed, "You were never there for him. You show up after 5 years and now you want everything?" But I was there, in the worst ways, in the quiet ways, and in the ways none of them would understand. "You want the truth?" I finally said, rising. "Dad didn't want to leave it to you. He saw you all for who you really are. The money-hungry, guilt-dodging circus you've become." Paige laughed. "That's rich, coming from the dropout with a God complex." He changed his will, in front of a nurse, with 2 witnesses, while fully lucid. I held up the notarized affidavit. The courtroom went quiet. Even the judge finally looked up. 10 years. That's how long I'd been the family ghost. No calls, no holidays, no mention of my name at dinner. The bipolar diagnosis wasn't just a medical label. It was a scarlet letter. Dad couldn't look me in the eyes for weeks. Paige called it a phase. Trent mocked it as Eli being dramatic again. The night I tried to end it, I left a note no one ever read. Paige found me, not with tears, just a clipboard. She got the court order the next day. I was stripped of rights I didn't even know I had. Then silence. From everyone, until a month before Dad died when a strange number called. He was in hospice, frail, alone, asking for me. I came, and in that room, with beeping machines and morphine drips, he broke down. I made mistakes. But this I can fix. He asked for a pen, a notary, a witness. He wrote me back into existence, and I swore I wouldn't let them erase me again. The courtroom doors opened with a chill that wasn't from the AC Colonel Richard M. Hawthorne. Imposing, calm. The kind of man whose voice didn't rise because it didn't need to. "Your Honor, I am here as a sworn witness and executor of the revised will. I have the video, time-stamped, signed, sealed." He played it. There was Dad, frail but lucid, looking into the camera with unflinching clarity. "If Eli is in the room, I want him to know this isn't charity. This is me finally doing the right thing." Paige turned pale. Trent sat frozen. Even the judge blinked twice, adjusting his glasses like he'd just seen a ghost. Colonel Hawthorne spoke again. "He didn't change the will because Eli begged. He changed it because Eli belonged. And for the first time since the trial began, I felt seen." It all unraveled fast. Paige's voice cracked, her eyes darted, calculating an escape that didn't exist. No, he was sedated, confused. But the video had timestamps. The nurse's affidavit backed it, the colonel's word. Untouchable. Trent whispered, "You said we had this, that Dad was out of it. You told me he'd sign it over." Paige hissed. Their alliance fractured, sharp as broken glass. The judge called for order, but the courtroom didn't need gavel strikes to hear the truth anymore. I stood. This wasn't about money. This was about worth. I turned to them both. "You didn't want what Dad had. You wanted what he never gave you. But you thought I was too broken to matter." Silence, and in that silence they shattered. The gavel struck, final, irrefutable. The will stood, the inheritance transferred. The court sealed the ruling. Outside, the sky had turned grey. Rain threatened. Mom waited beneath the awning, hands clasped like she still didn't know how to reach out. She opened her mouth, but no words came, just a look. I nodded, a silent truce. "I was never mad at you for protecting them," I said quietly. "I was hurt you never tried to protect me." Her voice was barely a whisper. I didn't know how. She handed me a photo, the last one of all of us, years ago, back when smiles weren't masks. Then she walked away, and I didn't stop her, because some doors don't need to be slammed, they just need to stay closed. The house felt like a time capsule. Dad's scent still clung to the wood. His records untouched, his guitars lined up like soldiers waiting for orders. I didn't redecorate. Not yet. Instead, I built something new in the garage. A music studio, a place for truth, for healing. The first song I wrote was called Outnumbered. The second stayed. Then, one day, the letter came. From Paige, shaky cursive, no return address, no lies. You were right, I turned grief into greed. But when I held my son, I saw your eyes. We named him Elijah, not to make amends, but to remember strength. I hope one day he meets the man he was named after. I didn't cry, I didn't forgive, but I softened. Scars don't ask for attention, they just exist. Proof of hurt. Proof of healing. I visit Dad's grave every year, not to mourn, to breathe, because I survived them all, not with revenge, with truth. If you've ever been betrayed by the ones meant to protect you, if you've ever sat silent while they rewrote your truth, you are not alone. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stay standing when the world swears you're lying. If you were in Eli's place, what would you have done? Would you fight? Would you forgive? Would you walk away? Let us know in the comments. And if this story hit home, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear. You are not the villain just because they wrote you out. You are not wrong just because you're outnumbered. Stay strong. Speak your truth. Sometimes, that's all that matters.